They call this area the bowling alley because when it's bad weather, it doesn't have great holding, and so all of the boats just ram into each other. We sailed to the Sunshine Coast of Australia. Although it was gorgeous, the dangers of dragging anchor and crashing into something was a huge threat. And then it happened. Someone hit us.
Wait, before we continue, make sure you push the subscribe button, the like button, and the bell button, or your kids will play Minecraft.
We're the McKays, a family that's never been sailing, from landlocked Alberta. Follow along as we buy our first boat, a 50-foot catamaran in New Zealand, and begin our journey to visit 100 islands.
As we entered the Mooloolaba River, it was hard to find a place to anchor because it was so crowded. We've been trying to find a place to anchor forever. This is a really shallow anchorage, and we've dragged anchor twice, and we're just trying to find a place. So we keep on dragging anchor, and now we're trying to re-anchor, but now the tide is low, and so we just hit ground. This is so nerve-wracking. I hate this so much. We were totally stuck.
Okay, so what I think we're gonna do is we can't seem to get past this right here.
Don't come to Mooloolaba if you are a big ship. This is a nightmare.
We were dragging anchor. Every time we've put the anchor down in Mooloolaba, we've dragged anchor. Like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour later, with no wind, no current. We just notice all of a sudden we're dragging anchor. I don't know what the bottom is here, but it is not good for anchoring. That's what all the other people said. And they were not lying. They were not lying. Yeah, we'll wait till midnight and then we'll go anchor just a couple 100 yards over there when we've floated off of our little spot that we're on right now. It says we're in 0.8 anchor, 0.8 of a meter, but we're not. You can go turn off. I said we ran out of ground right here just so we could watch that beautiful sunset over the bridge. Look at the big God rays coming up and everything. It's actually quite pretty.
No!
You were given an instruction. Go around the front of the boat. Mom wants to film the sunset peacefully.
We waited for the tide to come in and lift us off the sandbar when suddenly...
Wait, Ezra, why are you in the water?
Shut up! Ezra, hey, it was wet. It wasn't my fault.
Watch this,
Ezra?
So he jumped, went over,
like that?
except he ended in the water.
Yeah, about halfway through.
I slipped halfway and I was like, oh shoot. And then it just went all the way down.
Finally, we are unstuck. We've been stuck all evening because the tide was so low. Finally, we're moving. I don't know if we're moving where we want to go. In the morning, the islands of Mooloolaba seemed a lot less intimidating. Speaking of islands, we had counted Double Island Point sandbars as island number 25, and now we're counting 2 of Mooloolaba's islands, which gets us to the island count of 27. One of the best parts about Mooloolaba is its boardwalk.
The funniest statue ever. I was wondering what they were holding. Everybody's smiling, even the crocodile's smiling.
The beach was crowded but glorious. The water was even more crowded since the lifeguards asked visitors to only swim in certain areas. But that didn't stop us from having a blast. Besides sandy beaches, Mooloolaba had other beaches that would take your breath away.
Three, two, one.
So you're not actually allowed to stay in Mooloolaba for very long. You're only supposed to stay here for like what, 7 to 10 days? And which we did, so we were fine. But there's so many people who seem to live aboard like secretly. And there was this guy next to our boat that like the first night that we came, he egged our boat. At first we didn't know, like that night we didn't know what was going on or who it was or what, like we just maybe thought that our kids had done it, but there was no way. Anyway, then it turns out like he was like this genuine psychopath that would like put
He'd spotlight our kids on the deck at night and just like follow them with a spotlight for 20 minutes or so. So then I started spotlighting him back, and then this morning he was like spying at me in the dinghy, and so like I slowed down and I'm like, hey, how's it going? He's like watching me and he like hides, like I can't see the rest of his bald head sticking up, and then like watches me some more. I'm like, okay, you're just a weirdo. I said hi like 4 times. I was like 5 feet from him. Anyhow, it was just kind of funny.
Although there were some less than perfect things about Mooloolaba, one of the things that was practically perfect were the dates Dustin and I had when we slipped away from the boat to enjoy the boardwalk at night.
Isn't that cool?
We are leaving Mooloolaba at high tide, so hopefully we don't have any problems as we go out of the river and into the ocean. We thought that as we left Mooloolaba, we had also left all our dragging anchor nightmares as well. But little did we know that as we landed at Bribey Island, we might not drag anchor, but our nightmare had just begun. It seemed like nothing could go wrong on this perfect night of fireworks and magic, when suddenly...
Yeah, but our GPS says we haven't moved.
a boat had crashed into us. Crash may be a strong word. There was no damage done to either of our boats. A neighboring boat had dragged anchor, and now our anchor lines were tangled up with each other, and we were tethered together. Something that, if the weather had been any worse, could have proven to be catastrophic. Maxwell! After a half hour of getting this boat untangled from us, finally, we were safely alone on the water.
So I was turning off all the lights to go to bed, and I looked out and I saw a flashlight up on the trampoline, and I thought, oh, the kids are playing with a flashlight. And I thought, oh wait, that flashlight has a boom attached to it. And that's how I realized that they'd come. It was really, we were just lucky because the current's waning, and so it was just very gentle. They just drifted on up to us. And then I ran up and I was like, hey guys, and they like popped up and they were all like shocked to see us right there. And they're like, oh, you dragged into us. I'm like, no, we haven't moved. Like, our GPS says that we're where we were. They're like, oh. Anyhow, and then their chain was wrapped around our chain, but we got it all done, and no harm, no foul. I bet they're not going to sleep as well tonight.
Well, we aren't either.
I'm going to sleep great.
I'm not.
Perfect. Stay up and watch the anchor. Make sure we don't drag.
So this is us coming back from the grocery store. We look like a homeless couple, you know, towing all their worldly possessions with them.
I swear I'm not homeless.
1 year ago, I left my town. I left my friends. I left my family. But most of all, I left my home. Have I been replaced? Or have I been forgotten? Or have I been reborn?
Why are you filming me? Am I supposed to say something?